Greetings, folks.
Hello, Sally.
How's it going?
It's going all right. It's nice and quiet.
Nice. Kiwa, hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Is this your first call? I don't think I've seen you before on
Yes,
Besu
yes.
Contributor.
This is my first call.
Nice. Is there anything particular that you're interested in joining in, or you're just happy to?
Well, I just imported the calendar today. I got my interest into Epalaja fabric, but I just I'm still exploring the entire space. So I would like to see how things are done here too. So I basically came for the Epalaja fabric. Well, I don't have that today, but I still want to see how the community goes around.
Okay. So you're using Hyperledger Fabric right now, and you're basically curious.
Yes, kind of. Not using learning to use actually.
Learning. Okay. Cool. Awesome.
Mhm.
Welcome.
Okay.
So we normally just give people until 2 or 3 minutes past the hour before we start. But this call is the quieter one out of this is the US Europe time zone call. So we may or may not get more people, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just sharing my screen with the agenda. Might kick off with the housekeeping. So the antitrust notice is basically just something that everyone needs to be aware of when participating and sharing info in these calls, meeting conduct, and so on. We're recording this meeting, so the recording will be shared afterwards on the Hyperledger Wiki and YouTube. Mute unless you have a question, or you can also raise your hand. Like I said, it's a pretty small group, so if I don't see your raised hand, feel free to interrupt me. Did anyone have any general announcements? There's none on the agenda. The roadmap is there for reference. Release updates, we just released 23.7.2. Gary's on the call. Do you want to share any info or insights about that?
Yeah, 23.7.2 is probably the first release of main in probably about 6 weeks. We had 23.7.1, which was a cherry pick. So there's a lot of accumulated change in 23.7.2, but it should be stable and recommended for mainnet use.
No.
23.7.1 was a cherry pick.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Thank you. And is it also ski support?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Ski network? Is it does it also have the Husky network support?
Yes, yeah, that's a highlight of it. Really is for Ethereum. It supports the Husky. That's the official Husky release.
Awesome. I didn't have any info about, or anything in particular about the previous releases. Is there anything you want to call out there? The release process is further down in the agenda, but do you want to talk about it, Barry?
Yeah, I think there's definitely been some changes to the release process relating to docs and things like that is worth noting for those who would be doing releases. Also, we're trialing on this particular quarterly series. We're trialing releasing from a release branch as opposed to directly from main. We still want to have provenance back to main for any SHA that we release, but we're trying this on for size that doesn't block main, and it seems like it's a low as low friction as possible that serves the needs of releasing and not blocking. So just a little bit of housekeeping, really.
Yeah,
There-
awesome.
there's
I will
a-
fix that building.
There's a wiki page that's describing the trade-offs for this current release. I can get that to you if you want to add that to the notes.
I think that's this link here already.
Yep, that's the one. You've got it.
Awesome. Have you, is that a time to call out if anyone has further comments on that? Are you still looking for comments on that?
Yeah, I think we're still looking for comments on that. I know Simon has a lot of strong opinions. It would be good to get some feedback from him since this kind of parlays a couple of his proposals. So it'd be great to get some feedback specifically from Simon and anybody else really who's interested in having some input on the release process.
Does this incorporate the changes to drop the quarterly releases, or was that or are they still part of this process?
Yeah, we're still currently doing quarterly releases, but since we're doing a release candidate for every single release, the quarterly release process isn't as critical. I mean, it's in historically the quarterly process has seen at least one release candidate and burn-in of that, and since we're doing that for every release now, there really isn't a need to do a quarterly release process, in my opinion.
Okay, but that's but for now it's been kept, I guess.
Yeah, for the moment we're still doing Simver, but we could easily move to Calver. I think that's really
I thought we
only,
were doing Calver.
not to my knowledge. I mean, we're still on .7 and we're in the 9th month, so we're on Simver.
Okay. So it's sort of Calver, but
Yeah,
quarterly.
quarterly. So
Yeah.
it's largely just a numbering difference at this point. I think it might be worthwhile just to move over fully to Calver.
Mm. Yeah, I guess there's still the other thing we use quarterly releases for is signaling deprecation and removal of features.
Yeah, I also think that since there's potentially from Matt Whitehead a enterprise release pipeline that would have long-term releases and a lot of the deprecation notice for these private networks that might be using Besu or are using Besu, that some of the justification for doing Semver is almost shifted over onto the enterprise release process.
Yeah, so that's this one. I'm just going to put it up. Okay, anything else on releases?
All from me.
Do we have a notion of what the next release is going to be? When, I guess?
I not yet. I think we'd have to defer to yeah, don't know, not yet.
Okay, TBD.
Yes, TBD. TBA.
Okay, so work update. I put in here about Cancun. So DevNet 8 Besu is all good. DevNet 9 is coming next week. There are a couple of changes from DevNet 8 to DevNet 9, and Besu's already got those implemented, so that should be good to go. Any other work updates? No? So the remaining item in other business is about the splitting up the support channels in the Discord server. Has that decision already been made, or is that we're still open for voting on that one? Gary, I think you proposed that one too.
Yeah, I proposed that. There really wasn't a lot of traffic on the proposal in Discord the last I checked, but it's probably worth, I'll double check now to see if there's been any more input there. This was a proposal that Matt was championing, so I think we need to get some consensus. We don't want to unilaterally make that change, I think.
Okay, so still open.
It looks like, looking at the poll, we have had it looks like 13 responses, 12 responses, with 11 votes for Besu and Besu Enterprise, and 1 vote for some other. That was my vote for some other, and I actually would change my vote back to Besu and Besu Enterprise. So it has been unanimous, Besu and Besu Enterprise, for the split. We should probably look at the contributors list and find out if 12 is a majority or a quorum. But it seems like there's
Yeah.
appetite for making the change.
Okay, cool, awesome. Anything else that anyone wants to talk about or put on the agenda for future topics? If not, that can be a really super quick call.
Yeah, it's nice and quick this time.
Yeah. Okay, looks like that's it. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
all.
Bye.